The Prince of Endings was born in spring. He spoke at birth, for he was to be king. No lies passed ever through his lips, for it is truth. In summer he learned the ways of rule. In lashing rain and desert cruel, not strength nor laughter, though wisdom and shadow were his word. Monsoon brought him respite. He learned the song of opening gates and met dying, who beyond them waits. In winter he fasted for 70 nights, learning the ways that dying fights. Speaking and making war he knew, but love he knew not, for love's not true. Came again the harvest moons, and with it the last of dying's boons. The Prince of Endings was born once more, for nothing can end, unless it's begun before. Zaida for poetry passed down.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama.
Now recording.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Keith.
Aadiyat, you should greet Craig.
Yes. Hello, Craig.
Yes. Now you have joined the recording.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is actually important. I don't think it is.
Probably not.
It can make a 2-second editing job if you don't do it. So not a big deal, really. Yes. Okay, I'll just read us in. I think we've done all the pre-talk before.
Yes.
So, welcome back to Desperate Attune and our score against the Majesty Bank. The Kethrysi War for Independence ? Has begun, and the crew is now looking to... Yes, exclamation point. And the crew are in the middle of striking the Majesty Bank. A score with multiple purposes. One, to acquire currency for the revolution and the war for independence, or however it will take shape. We don't know yet. But the other is also to strike a blow against the demon houses, who by now have realized that the Prince of Endings is real. And so the 5 houses have kind of ganged up on the 6th, or at least they would, if not for this inflicting of damage. The proprietor of the Majesty Bank is one Venkatesh Anixis, who is a very rich man who has gathered up a stealthy amount of both blackmail materials and currency, and who, the crew found out last session, sits on a tremendous collection of Kethrysi land, the deeds to which could be stolen or they could also be destroyed. In either case, it will ruin much of the legitimacy that the Majesty Bank has, because, as established all the way back at the beginning of this campaign, the Majesty Bank is responsible for the financial destitution of Kethrys and is holding a lot of land as collateral for loans, or indeed as confiscated land for loans that couldn't be repaid. And so, this is our crew's target. Get the money, get the land, or at least get the Uduashans to release the land, and cause chaos among the 5 great houses. And with me, as usual, are our players and their characters, starring Zoheb as Bidruhi.
Hello, it's me, Zoheb as Bidruhi.
Starring Salty as Clem.
I'm just Clem. Anywhere else I'd be a 10.
Nice.
Nice.
Aadiyat as Mushfik.
Yes,
And
hello.
Sherkatam. Hello. And Tree as not Saida, but as Sri and Kethrys, the aspect of the god that Saida created.
I am a nation contained within myself. No man is an island. Doobie doobie doo.
Indeed. And yeah, do we want to recap a little bit where our characters are? Because we're kind of in the middle of the action. And let's start then with Sri and Kethrys.
Yes, absolutely. As we know, we were assaulting the Majesty Bank, and the plan was for Sri and Kethrys to hide within an immaculately reconstructed ancestor tree, which was also a bomb. I escaped from the tree, got into a fight with an abomination against my very being. It can't really be against my religion because I am the religion, but nevertheless. And it's now stuck up in the rafters somewhere, trying to destroy me as I try to destroy it. And it's bad.
Yes, indeed. The creature dubbed as the Unwarden, a bronze-masked, not quite spirit warden.
As I recall, I have a Kethrysi stick that I'm using against it because I have declared it anathema in Kethrys.
Yes, it's an axe. Yes. In fact,
it's an axe.
But yes,
it's a wooden axe. Yes, correct. That's why I thought it was a stick because it's made of wood.
Yeah. Yes.
But yes.
With which you're aiming to smite it, and it has triggered the traps, which are releasing hot steam into the corridor where you are. While this is happening, though, Bidruhi, what have you been up to?
I am fighting the concept of justice. Or, if you look at it the other way around, I am punching a bird.
Yes. Well,
so
is that
do you
the
want to
other way around?
Yes. Let me set it up. That's the TLDR. But
yes.
Okay.
Well, no one's reading anyway, so I don't know why I said TLDR. Anyway, dear listeners, last time Bidruhi was outside the Majesty Bank, agitating and bringing basically the entire squad over on the pretext of a protest that is going to kick off into a full-blown riot and a raid on the Majesty Bank to reclaim our rightful Kethrysi property. And the pretext has gone well. We got the Majesty Bank guards to level their firearms at us, and then there was a big explosion, and then all hell broke loose, and we were all about to rush in to take down the guards of the Majesty Bank, who happen to be, by the way, members of the Hive, who we also have a side interest in taking down. Let's not recap the whole thing. Listen to the previous episode if you haven't about that. But anyway, so we were about to rush and overwhelm these Hive guards because, well, over the course of the interseason, we have accumulated a very large gang and many, many loyal and devoted allies who also have guns. However, things went slightly south, just as we were about to rush up the steps, because at first we thought that our old friend Captain Peregrine, the Falconer, essentially the secret police, was watching us and taking notes on the situation and about to intervene. And we thought that he was going to intervene with his falcon. We had seen a falcon. Unfortunately, this falcon turned out to be not Peregrine's falcon. Peregrine is in the scene, but he's not the main problem. The main problem is this falcon. This falcon which turned out to be a giant falcon. A giant falcon which turned out to be, in some ways, the demonic avatar of the demon prince Kuset, Prince of Justice. And he has declared the despoliation of Kethrys and the accumulation of its material wealth in the Majesty Bank to be just and lawful. And thus we are now fully criminals in the eyes of the highest legal authority in all of Utuasha and Iruvia, the demon Kuset. Bidru has decided to punch the bird.
For any ancillary justice fans out there, and NWNI has declared us unjust, improper, and unbeneficial.
Indeed so.
I'm not an ancillary justice fan. I just want to punch the bird.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sock it in the beak. We'll see how that goes. And then, on top of all this, there have been some fast food shenanigans involving Mushfik and Clem.
Yeah.
Who wants to catch us up on that?
Yeah. We discovered the fastest way to Hassan Grillmaster from Majesty Bank through interrogating somebody. Some bank worker.
Yeah,
And Mushfik have been having a great time.
Yeah, I think that's all we need to say about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and also
Nothing.
that we were posing as members of the Hive. Yeah, so we harassed some. I guess what was it? Some kind of clerk or some kind of junior officer, who turned out to be an Ashcroft whose sister was actually in charge of the security, whom we were pretending to be a part of. And yeah, so she confronted us, and I think with a little bit of I think was it a well-placed lie? We remembered the names of some actual guards and who we were able to pose as. But we were sort of also hoisted by our own petard because we set off the tree bomb in the basement, which we then, as the guards, had to go and investigate.
Yes.
And...
I don't know about we there. Mushfik set that off. Clem was too busy getting her partner the really important information.
Yes.
So basically what happened is that Mushfik tried to shake down a white boy, but the white boy turned out to know more about kebab than Mushfik did, and this upset Mushfik existentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what really happened. The rest of it is just incidental detail.
And you are currently with Georgina Ashcroft, one of the members of the Kethrysi Ashcroft family. She is much more authoritative than her brother. She is a tall, kind of regal-looking woman with a bronze glove or gauntlet, which is somehow tied to whatever security system she's in charge of, I suppose. She is, clearly quite proficient, and she has heard the explosion going on in the basement and the alarm going off, and she has moved to investigate this. But as it happens, there are multiple alarms going off, and so where we begin this session, Clem and Mushfik, is you are moving alongside this woman, and it's just you and her for the moment. She is heading for the basement, but then this scream of a falcon comes from the lobby of the bank, and she hesitates a moment. And that is what I would like to pick up, basically. She's caught between two crises, not sure which one to investigate, and you may have the option to influence her, or even split up, or do something else. Let's zoom in on this moment. So, Georgina is kind of going down some very nice stone stairs, like these elegant marble stairs. She is in a hurry, and then she pauses in the stairs as she hears like the sound of a falcon crying and of the hive soldiers gathering up. And she only pauses for a moment, but I want to give you guys the initiative here to ask you, what do you do?
So I'm in this hall, right?
Yes, I wanted to start with. I wanted to start with Clem and Mushfik, but yes, you are in the very downstairs in this hallway that is filling with steam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just wondering how far away I am, but that clarifies. Thanks.
Yes.
I think Clem looks at Georgina and Mushfik and goes, well, you two go and investigate that with the rest, because we've got, I believe we have Mona Darling and is it Beja with us as well? You lot go and investigate that. I'll link up with Saturman.
Okay, so just to clarify, what is your plan? Who is splitting up where here? You're sending Pejal and
Mona with Georgina and Mushfik to go and back up Idrahi.
Okay.
All
right. So your plan is to go down. Yeah. So Clem, your plan is to go downstairs and have Georgina and the rest go join the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Just to clarify what's going on. Okay, I think it's an action roll because you are trying to give Georgina orders, and she does not necessarily take them. But I think you have set yourself up pretty well. So I'm going to call your position controlled limited. Controlled, there's not much risk, but limited because Georgina is, unless you push her to rush things, she's not going to run into a fight unprepared. She's not a fighter, but she does have tricks up her sleeve, and she's going to deploy them first before whatever she does. So that's why I'm framing it as controlled limited to get her to do this.
Quick correction. It was Mona Darling and Zahir.
Yeah. Zahir, yeah. Mm-hmm. But either way, yeah, you have two people with you. And Clem, the thing you were trying to accomplish here is split off from Georgina, which you can do with your limited success, but you can't get her to just barge into a dangerous situation unless you do something to improve your effect.
Yes. I'm going to shift that to risky standard, and the way that Clem's going to do that is get right up into Georgina's face and go, look, you need to go and sort this shit out now, because otherwise you're going to have dead people in the halls of the Majesty Bank and fucking chaos everywhere. Okay, I'll go and sort downstairs. You go and sort that out now.
All right. Yeah, you have positioned yourself as some sort of officer of the fighters, so this is plausible. So it's risky standard. I imagine the action is command.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And yeah, I will offer you a simple devil's bargain here. You have said you're trying to link up with Saturman as your excuse for why you're leaving. And this is an out-of-character devil's bargain, so it's not something that Clem could decide. But your out-of-character devil's bargain is you will completely lose track of where Saturman actually is. So you can take a bonus die for him being sneaky and having set up his own contingency plans if you want, which may cause problems down the line, but I think it can improve things now with the logic that, Georgina also doesn't know where Saturman is, which is why it can make this more plausibly work. So basically your devil's bargain is no one knows where Saturman is.
Quick note for listeners who did not listen to the last episode for some reason. Saturman is the leader of the Hive, and we have to assassinate him as part of our Faustian bargain.
So it is. Mm-hmm. Which is why I think this is an interesting devil's bargain for everyone to lose track of him.
That's a terrible way to refer to our very good friend Munna, who is a very good friend.
She's a good friend. I'd like
cool.
to keep. Yeah.
I'd like to keep track of.
To remember.
Okay, then. You do not have to take this devil's bargain.
And I'll take it. I'll take it as standard. So just the normal number of dice. I should have taken that devil's bargain. That's a 3 and 3 and a 1.
Oof.
Can I add
Lovely.
them together? That's successful, right?
Okay. So what happens is that Georgina stops. She composes herself. She looks at you, and she says, "Go then." And she points for you to head downstairs, and then she raises this bronze gauntlet, and she looks at it, and there is this moment, I think, where both Clem and Mushfik realize that something is happening to the ghost field as she holds up this gauntlet and makes a gesture. And she orders you to go. She just stops in the stairs. And she is beginning to manipulate the bank security system via the ghost field at this moment. And unless you resist it, she is going to be able to perfectly track Shriya and Kethrys. But she's going to know what is happening downstairs. And then, obviously, you don't get what you want, so you won't be able to send her off because she's definitely going to prioritize a spiritual bomb and Shriya and Kethrys in the basement. Like, what's happening upstairs is still just a riot. So... Do you want to resist that, or are we okay with her?
No, I think I'll resist it by. Yeah, I mean, Clem can feel what's going on. Perhaps this is happening behind Clem's back, and I think they're reaching back out to figure out which part of the mechanism is causing, like, resonating in the ghost field and trying to dampen it down. So she's going to have to spend more time doing that, giving Mushfiq an opportunity, because we're alone right now, right?
Yeah, you are.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. You can resist it, and I think the way to resist it then is, like you said, it slows her down. She's still going to be able to pull on these invisible strings, but she'll be slowed because you're basically interfering. It sounds like a resolve resist, basically just you reaching out and screwing with the ghost field on sheer willpower.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Just the one.
And you take 1 stress from doing so. And this being resisted means that Mushfiq, the ball is in your court. So she still raises this gauntlet, and you can tell that she is doing some sort of, like, spiritual bullshit. This is Akorosi technology, right? So maybe she's technologically plugging into the ghost field, but she's doing something. However, it's taking her time and focus. So you have an opportunity to act.
Yeah, my thoughts are that having this person, or, well, maybe not this person, but some of our other targets go to the basement where our tree bomb isn't the worst thing in the world, because it is a bomb, and we might be able to set it off a second time. And if our enemies are in close proximity of this bomb when it goes off, that might not be.
I think you're in a position to lure her into, like, what you can do is to persuade her to investigate the tree before she investigates Shriya and Kethrys, right? That's something you can definitely do. Tell her, like, oh, we need to go to the artifact storage room. That's where the source of it is, or something. That's perfectly possible, I think.
Yeah, so would it be possible to make it so it's not just her? Because we don't particularly care about this person, right? We just don't want her to get in the way.
She has the ability to call in guards and stuff, right? She's a pretty high-ranking person, so I think it's possible for her to like persuade her to order some guards to the trophy room or whatever. Depending on how you frame it, of course. But yeah, I think it's doable.
Could we maybe lure... what's the guy? Wait, I've already forgotten his name. You know, the hive guy that we need to kill. Yeah.
Saturman? Yeah. I think that's also possible to achieve, although I think that would be your great effect, probably, to get Saturman and Georgina into this room. So, depending on what you do, we can frame it in different ways. But I think you're starting off at risky standard here, and if you can get great effect, then you can get like an important person.
Okay.
As well as Georgina, yeah.
Okay, if she's using her glove to, I guess essentially do tap into the sort of like ghost field CCTVs. Maybe I can jam the signal or make it seem like something that okay, so I think what we'll say is maybe it's not something that I'm doing now, but just when we were making this tree bomb, just the signals or the vibes that she's getting off it would mean that she's going to get someone like really high up to investigate. Like, it's not something, as you said, she's not gonna just rush into it, right?
Yeah.
So
that makes
maybe,
sense.
Yeah. So maybe we can do this as a flashback, that it's, or if that's necessary.
Sure. Sure. We can do it as a flashback. That makes sense that you've set this up ahead of time. I have this hilarious image in my head that it involves certainly strategically placed bananas to like bounce the signal off of.
The strategically placed banana is a key part of Mushfiq's technique.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's let's not spend any stress on it. We can set it up in this way, but I do think the action is Attune.
Yeah.
I will start you off at. I mean, it's your choice, really. We can start this off at risky standard and attract some attention, or you can start it off as desperate great and attract quite a lot of attention, and that's why it's desperate, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's desperate Attune. So
desperate great Attune. Mm-hmm.
May I assist you?
Of course you may.
Brother, if you want to gain attention, think of Bidruhi. Do what Bidruhi would do. Say it the way Bidruhi would.
Man, oh man.
This is your assist. Wonderful.
I am an example for you to follow.
I have absolutely no idea what to do with this information. I've got to say.
Then you cannot be assisted.
Yeah.
Think deep across the entire campaign. We've played for a year.
You are attuning, right? So this is you setting up a signal that draws attention. So maybe this is just making the tree resonate with Bidruhi's energy.
Maybe deep down inside your head, we see a very short scene where the little Bidruhi that lives in your head puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "Brother." I don't know what to say. So remind me what exactly you're doing.
I'm not doing anything particularly now. I'm just making it so that this tree, like whatever vibes that this tree is giving off, in the host field, she won't go and investigate this by herself. She'll be like, "Oh, this is something really serious. I don't understand. We need to get the head of security, which is, I guess, Rumman. We need to take this to the top before I go in there."
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think the little Bidruhi in your head puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "Brother, Mushrik Bhai, you have to make this tree both bombastic and fantastic, okay? The energy that it should give should be like absolute rock your tits off kind of energy, okay? So you will have to give it a vibe. You'll have to give it a vibe of concern maxing, okay? Concern maxing and emergency pilling, okay? Give it this sort of vibe where the entire house is going to burn down. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
No.
This is awful.
No.
This is horrible. But yes.
What the hell is concern maxing?
Somehow the tree's going to catch on fire.
I will accept your
my psychic
assistance.
Influence.
Yes.
It's esoteric.
Yes. You can have an extra die.
See, this is exactly how Tree plays the game, except I'm reframing it in Bidruhi's discourse. See how it feels?
Can I maybe you can assist another way. If I may suggest something. Which is, I mean, you said that Bidruhi might be on Mushrik's mind, and like when Mushrik said set the tree off last time, I did a little monologue where where I think Bidruhi was very much on his mind.
Yes,
him and his just insisting that banana bombs are a silly idea and maybe something's wrong with Mushrik.
Yes,
and maybe you're.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe what you're assisting with is just and Mushrik made like such a danger, like to show Bidruhi up. He made such a dangerous bomb that just by its very nature.
No. I think what happened, what we find is that the little Bidruhi in your head is banana pro. His banana build. He wants you to banana max.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yes.
I have discovered what I'm going to take revenge for in my next campaign. Thank you for this. Good, great.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm revenge pilled and spike maxing.
Yeah, yes. I will also offer a devil's bargain on top of this, because I think there's quite an interesting devil's bargain here, which is there are no ghosts in Uduasha, right? But we have also established that the ancestor trees do hold ghosts, and so the Devil's Bargain I'm offering you here will also give you another kind of extra benefit on the side, which is if you are willing to, as part of this draw attention thing, draw out Kethrysi ghosts from this tree, draw out the spirits of dead warriors, you can have an extra die because that would draw attention. But doing so also dooms them, because like a ghost who steps out of the tree will be consumed by the well. So.
Oh man.
Oh. Ooh, do I want to do a little?
And these are all of Bold Murad's like ancestors.
Yeah,
and other people.
It depends on how you would see it, right? It is a charge for Kethrys, but it also does mean that the tree irrevocably dies and the ghosts inside it are consigned to the well. So
yeah. I will remind you that he is the Prince of Endings.
Yeah,
it's your call. I think it's interesting what Mushfiq would do here if he would permit these ghost soldiers to give themselves up for the cause or not. Well, it's not permit them, it's if you would order them to, essentially. They don't get much of a choice about it, but yeah.
It's a devil's bargain. It doesn't have to be intentional.
It doesn't, no. But this is how I'm framing it.
Even if it is intentional, I think from what we know of Mushfiq, this is something that he would do.
Yeah.
All right, but all of this just to gain attention seems a bit much. Like, would I mean, because if they just turn up and it's just to gain attention and then they do nothing else, that seems like a bit of a waste to call upon them now.
I will let you have this Devil's Bargain later if you prefer. Like, we can leave it on the table and it can be something you can invoke for a different action, and you don't have to take it now. That's also a cool way to do it.
Yeah. Like, let's say it's an option, but we'll do it when we really need it.
Okay. Yeah. Then you don't get the bonus dice now, but we have established that this is a thing you can do. So, cool. All right. So then it's Attune with 1 bonus die from Bidruhi's assistance. Desperate Great.
Banana maxing. Let's go.
Okay.
It's a 4, a 2, a 3, a 3.
Yes. So, what will happen here is that she will realize this and she says, that tree, it has to take priority. And she makes like a gesture. In fact, actually, I don't think she gestures with the bronze gauntlet. She strikes it into a wall, and there's like a noise that resonates throughout the whole building. And it's as if she strikes like an invisible gong that resonates from everywhere at once. Like if the whole building is vibrating. And she calls Saturman's attention, and whoever else is available's attention, really. So, this is your success. The consequence is something that, like, the characters will not be aware of it now, but you can resist it now if you want. So, zooming out for a bit, we see this gong go off, and we see Saturman rush out, the hive goons rush out, like everyone's going to be investigating what is happening in the basement, everyone that's not already fighting in the riot. And then we see a meek, boring-looking man. He has rather long black hair that he keeps tied up. He has a neat little mustache. He is diligently working at his paperwork in some back office in a boring, forgotten corner of the place. And then he hears this strike ring out, this punch into the ghost field. And something in him quickens. And he remembers that he is not Dawood, the office worker. He remembers that he is Ixis.
Oh, no! We just say yes!
Oh, yes!
Ixis, if you accept this consequence, Ixis is no longer spending a year dead for tax reasons. He will wake up.
Oh, man.
I want Mushfiq to kill a demon. Why would I resist?
Yeah. There you go.
If you kill Ixis, he'll be like, I meant to do that.
Yes.
It's all part of my plan. Yeah.
He does have plans within plans, but he is also tremendously dangerous. So yeah, you don't have to resist it. But this then happens. And so yeah, Georgina will rush towards this basement, and so will Saturman. And what Ixis does, we'll see, but it is definitely not in character for Ixis to rush into things.
No.
But yeah, lovely.
Lovely. That's not something that, I have never said the word lovely except when I really mean it. So,
yeah.
Say it now.
I don't yet really mean it.
Okay.
Well,
Prince, I'll give you a lovely.
Thank you. Speaking of lovely things,
yes,
I think it is a good time to cut to Sri and Kethrys. So Georgina and co are not catching up with you in the basement. You, in fact, have this place to yourself and the Unwarden. So the Unwarden is crawling in the ceiling like a freaky, gravity-defying beast that it is. And where we left off, you had just seen all of these vents opening the walls, and they are spraying you with red-hot steam. What do you do?
Yes. What do I do indeed? I think that I am going to. I know fundamentally that this thing cannot be permitted to continue to exist, and I know that I have a body, and apparently the body has to be protected lest it fall apart. And so there is a part of me that sees these two very competing concerns and understands that while I can end this thing later, the body cannot be rescued later. And so I must turn my attention to this boiling steam shit. And so I had an advance left over from last session. And I will take is it ghost form? The one that allows you to there is something called ghost form, but that's not what I thought it was. The one that the lurk has, where you can briefly turn ghost veil, I think.
Yes.
I'm gonna take ghost veil.
Yeah. Okay. And you're going to activate it here to escape the steam?
Yes. So I will take 2 stress. So I am shadowy and insubstantial for a few moments. And what I want to do is launch myself at this thing and then activate Ghost Veil so that I am traveling while I become the thing so that I'm not losing the momentum from jumping.
Okay. Sure.
And presumably, if I do this, I'll be fine.
Okay, so spending the 2 stress lets you ignore the problem of the steam for the moment.
Yes.
Like the traps. And I think it sounds then like you are prowling to try to get up into the rafters, which Ghost Veil helps you with, but it by no means makes it automatic.
No. And I have 0 dice and prowl, but yes.
Yeah, but I think that is the action if we're being honest here, right? You're trying to move quickly
100%.
through the air. Maybe you can frame it to something else.
No, this is what makes sense, so that's what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah. And because you activated Ghost Veil and are no longer at the risk of being boiled alive, I think that we're at risky standard. It is not necessarily desperate. At least not just to get to it.
Not yet, yes, indeed.
Yeah. This is just to launch yourself into the ceiling where there are no traps.
Yeah. I think risky standard is fine. Devil's Bargain would be super useful because I have 4 stress left before I don't trauma out. So as a supernatural being, I merely retreat into immortality until I return. So nevertheless.
So I have a Devil's Bargain for you, and it's a straightforward one. A lot of things are happening simultaneously throughout this building, right? And you phase out of existence at the moment that this gong rings out through pretty much the entire building and alerts everyone, including the Unwarden, to that, shit's going down. Because Georgina has woken up the supernatural defenses. Your Devil's Bargain is simply, you miss this. You were so distracted shifting that you are the only supernatural being in this place who does not know that all supernatural beings have been roused.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. That sounds great. I will take this.
You're the only one who's not woke.
Oops.
Oh, Lord.
I'm just gonna leave it at oops. Risky standard, 1 bonus die. Yeah, let's go.
No, take an assist.
I rolled a 4.
Oh, there's an assist coming. I will allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Helping
What's
me?
the assist?
Because we have Bound in Flame.
Oh,
and the assist
yes.
is that Saida has used Clem as a siphon before for power.
My God.
Mm.
The body remembers, huh? Very good.
The body
Wonderful.
remembers.
It's
Roll
a 3,
one more
but
d6
I
then.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a 4. So the success here is you launch yourself out of the range of the traps. You reach the ceiling, you find some rafter or something to hold on to. And the consequence, unless you resist it, is that the creature has the drop on you. Because it got up here way ahead of you.
Yeah.
And so unless you resist it, it will launch itself at you.
Let it. I'll just turn into a ghost again. Joke's on you. In fact, okay, so here's a question, right? So it says +1 stress for each extra feature. It lasts for a few minutes rather than moments. But I don't think, am I allowed to spend the stress after the action to make it?
I will allow to spend stress here, but that will not negate this consequence. It will just change the nature of it. So it can't punch you immediately if you do this. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just take that extra stress. And I think, probably I'm still in some kind of desperate position against it, but it won't be, the body will not be at risk. And this seems to be something that's important to humans, and I have to understand that. So, yeah.
Yep. Sure. Okay, so you spending this means you take no harm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this thing is not a spirit warden. It is some sort of mockery of a spirit warden. But nevertheless, you go up, it punches towards you. You see this little hand come to you. You are still insubstantial. It passes through you, and then its hand opens, and it makes a gripping motion inside your ghostly form, and it compels you, unless you resist it.
I gotta resist this. Yeah. None may compel me, save myself for the crew that I'm a part of. I may only be possessed by the Prince of Endings, and you don't count. So, no, it's not allowed.
Yeah.
You take bonus dice for resisting supernatural consequences.
Yeah, it's a resolve resist with a +1, because you have the increased resistance
it's
to supernatural.
+2 because I also have Iron Will, so I have 6 dice, actually.
Okay,
wow,
good.
Okay.
So,
well, go ahead and roll your resistance.
I rolled a 6.
Yeah, you're fine.
And I want to be clear, go fuck yourself.
Hey, Tree.
Who the fuck do you think you are? Yeah.
You say it's +2. Have you calculated for this as well?
Oh my god, no. Let me roll another die.
Yeah. It might be a crit then.
Yeah.
This fortune the fire resolve.
Yeah, okay, so you have 3 bonus dice to this. That is absurd. Yeah. It's not another 6 though, so you don't recover any stress.
No, but it's still it attempts to compel me, and though I am the name of the nation, there is no division inside the Prince of Endings, and we rebel against your authority. And I think for a moment, somewhere else, the name Bidrohi, which is doing whatever shit it's up to, resonates through me, and I reject it.
Yeah. So it grabs at you, it attempts to compel you, it fails, and it is totally caught by surprise by this. And I'm going to establish 2 things as true in this moment. 1, you have the initiative now.
Yes.
You're in melee combat with it, you can fall out of your ghost form and do harm to it, or maybe even do harm to it while staying in ghost form, that's up to you, but it is surprised by how you don't obey its commands, and it is a mindless, soulless being, so it's not very good at adapting to surprises in this way. And the second thing that I want to establish is that I think the way for you to recover stress, since you no longer indulge vice, the way for you to feed, quote-unquote, as a vampire is obviously to end this thing. So
yes, correct.
This is pretty much your only way to recover stress at the moment, is to kill this.
Yeah, this makes sense. And I think that I'm also compelled to end it by myself, right? And so I'm in this ghost form. I have repelled it from my being, and I will say, Kethrys banishes you, and so does the world. And I will strike it with my axe, hoping to end it utterly. And I guess it's. I'm imagining this more as an attune because it's not the physical act of hitting it as much as the metaphysical act of nevertheless hitting it.
Okay. Sounds good. We can call it an attune. I think it's desperate and standard. We had a clock for this thing, which has already been ticked quite a lot. Like you did make progress on this last time.
Yeah, I was looking for the clock. Is it in factions and clocks?
Yes, it is stored here. The Unwarden's End, which has 4 ticks on it.
2 ticks left. Yeah.
Indeed. So standard would be enough, but it is desperate.
Yeah.
So we're looking at desperate, standard.
I am joining the Mushfiq Club in desperately attuning.
Yeah, absolutely. It is what needs to be done.
And I have 3 dice. 3 dice is a lot of dice, I'm not going to lie. In attune. Desperate, standard.
Yeah. I have a devil's bargain for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is that since you're attuning and channeling stuff through this wooden axe, the axe will be corrupted and break. Like, it will not just shatter in half.
Yes.
This is like a holy relic of a weapon, and you are changing it by using it in this way. Like, it will in some way be not just broken, but like sullied.
Yeah, I think it'll become anathema to me, right? Because I am using it to end something, but what is happening is that in some way I am preventing the body's end, right? Like I'm saying that actually the body should continue. And there is some contradiction there. And the weapon that I am using to end this may indeed be destined one day to end me.
Good.
Great.
This is your first act of violence, right? This is the first time you're killing something?
I think so, yeah. I have ended things in other ways without killing them. You're right. Yeah, this is I had added a fine axe to my sheet because I had picked it up. I'm going to keep it on my sheet, but I'm now going to call it a fine deadly axe. And if I ever mark this box, I'm probably dead.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Desperate, standard, 1 bonus die. I have rolled a 6.
Okay, describe what it looks like.
So this is a hollow, right? It's made of metal.
It's a hollow, which means that it's a hollowed person that has been modified.
It's a hollowed person. Yeah, it's not a hollow. Yes. Yeah.
It is a person who has died and yet not. That's the horror of it. So there is a body in here, albeit with like this mask and gauntlets and stuff fitted on it.
Yeah. I think what happens is as I bring the axe down, for a moment we see the nature of the hollow change. The mask, which is a misshapen bronze lump, transforms for a moment into a bull, and Serek speaks through it and says, a worthy blow. Because even though only 2 demons are currently here actively engaging, all of them are watching, right? And this is just a reminder that, like, one of the reasons the others aren't interfering is that, like, too many cooks will absolutely spoil the broth. But I shouldn't forget, right? And I've weakened the Unwarden enough for this to occur. And maybe that is also what is empowering the axe. It is blessed by 2 princes now.
Okay, sure.
And
so you somehow are impressing Serek by doing this?
I think the way that I'm imagining this is because Serek is the house of... Well, yes. He's axe build and edge maxing. I wish I hadn't said that. The way that I'm imagining this is more that it is strength that impresses him above all. And it is strength that this prince demonstrates now. But it is also strength that he's going to turn against me if ever one of his people picks up this axe. So it is both warning and respect. This occurs, I hear it, and then the axe cleaves straight through, right? and the hollow like literally splits in half, and a moment later I am forced to drop the axe as it becomes anathema to me. And already my hand appears to have like some kind of blackening before
I think another thing that happens then is that this was a wooden axe that was like magically sharpened, but the blade was made of wood. No longer. The blade is now bronze. Same as the mask.
Right. Yeah, this makes sense.
And you drop the axe and it falls down onto the floor, which is still being sprayed by these jets of killing steam.
Yes.
Still hanging from the rafter, the corpse of the hollow tumbles down. And the unwarden is undone. And you may roll your indulge vice to get some stress back. Let's just handle it that way.
Yeah, makes sense. I rolled a 6.
Yeah, so you get 6 stress back. You have ended things. This is your
I'm not gonna lie.
nature.
This is this would be the thing that would give you a 6.
Yeah. Lovely. Let's leave you there for a moment and cut back to Bidruhi.
Yes.
So, Bidruhi, the big bird has rallied the hive. They're, these are organized criminals, right? Who are just hired on as private security here. So there's this like kind of ragtag mercenary force that's being bolstered by the call of the Falcon. And this is inside the hotel lobby. You had gone past the guards that were forcing you out of the way. So we basically have Bidruhi on one side. I mean, your people are behind you, but in the moment where we see this shot, it is Bidruhi. Sorry?
Bank lobby, not hotel lobby.
Yeah, bank lobby, sorry. It is Bidruhi entering this bank lobby, and like a whole bunch of guards on the other side with this Falcon like flying above them and spurring them on. What do you do?
So, a whole bunch of guards now, right? And when you say spurred on, like, do we see signs of like that? Like, obviously, it's more than them having the world's greatest pep talk, right? We're probably we're probably seeing signs of demonic possession across all of them, right?
I think when the bird flies above one of the people, right, like that guy's eyes light up with fervor, and the blaze of House Ankuset, whose what are their symbols?
The falcon.
Yeah. They don't have colors as such, but I'm imagining them glowing like a kind of golden yellow.
Nice.
I think that's the vibe here.
It makes sense with falcon's eyes and so on, right?
Yeah.
I say that as though I don't know what a falcon's eyes color.
So there are these flashes of amber or golden yellow out of the eyes of the hive mercenaries, and they are endowed with justice, right? They are like metaphysically and physically transformed before your eyes from like a ragtag gang of private security into the law, and that's just kind of a thing that happens.
And how many of them are there? Now they're streaming in, right?
Yeah, you can't fit however many in a bank lobby, but there are definitely more of them than there are of your gang. So let's see.
And
your gang
initially we outnumbered them, at least on the steps, but now that we're going in, they're running in. We're looking at what I think I have probably across our various allies and so on, we're probably like 40 people.
Yeah. And I don't think that there are necessarily 40 people in this bank lobby, like 40 guards. Probably more like 20 of them. But they have the advantage because you have to get all of your people through the door.
Yeah.
And
I'm also imagining like Majesty Bank actually being quite big, like massive and so on. So there probably could be more and more of them streaming in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But there are 20 at the moment.
Yeah.
Or so.
The mental image I'm having of like the transformation, of course, like their eyes are lighting up and so on. But like, the hive, they have a decent mercenary group, but they aren't like battle tested mercenaries. They're basically upgraded security goons, right? They guard warehouses and so on. Like in many ways, Jasper's Jezelchis were a more formidable fighting force. It's just that these guys, there's more of them and they have more money, right? Yeah. But now I'm imagining what's happening is that as the avatar of Kuset is flying above them, these guys suddenly lock step into perfect military drill, like superhuman fast. They level their guns they're forming ranks and so on. It's like one single mind. If that mind was possessed by the world's most like an athlete with superhuman alacrity.
Yeah. I also think that something that happens here, which maybe this is too on the nose, but a little bit what happens here is I think they transform from what colonial soldiers actually were to what the myth of colonial soldiers was, right? Mm-hmm. That's like from guys who are here as a sort of disorganized force to loot stuff into like suddenly being very well organized, disciplined. One of us can take 100 of them kind of people.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're probably like, there's probably some sort of subtle like changes also in like just, their clothes are suddenly brighter and so on. Like there are just things that are happening, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, I say things that are happening as though we have time for this, but of course they're about to shoot us in with that superhuman alacrity that I described, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a lot of us. There's a lot of them. They have the power of God and enemy on their side. I'll be real. I think like even though Bidrohi has reflexes, he's not leading a gang with reflexes, and these guys also have reflexes, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine any opening move that doesn't involve me resisting a bunch of fire on us and on my crew. Like, is that fair?
It is. What I'm giving you is, I am giving you, though, because it takes a moment for the Falcon to power up, like a moment to act here, which can be stuff like barricading yourself, closing the door, or rushing into the room. So I'm not framing it as, I'm not framing this as we go straight to combat. I'm saying, what do you do? And your gang shooting at them just isn't possible, because your gang hasn't fitted in through the door yet. So, like, you can try to lead your gang to, like, rush into the room and engage them more close up, or you can try to barricade yourself in or something. But I am giving you enough of initiative that you can do something. So you don't have to resist being shot at just yet. Because, like I said, you're in a doorway. If you do nothing, what they are going to do now is to take up positions so that they can shoot anyone who enters. And this is going to be something they can do very, very quickly. But you can act before they do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a knife at the chandelier, and I'm going to bring it crashing down. Because even though these guys are superhumanly boosted by Kuset, I assume they still need light. They still are susceptible to like distractions and so on, or at least Kuset might be. So that's my first move. I'm going to drop the chandelier down to cause chaos.
Yeah, in fact, I also think that this Falcon is zooming around the room, right? Falcons don't hover, so it's flying back and forth, crossing over them to like spread its fairy dust on them. So there's also that going on. Absolutely, this is a thing you can do. Disrupt them, startle them, maybe even startle the Falcon since it's zipping through the air.
Yep. I have even the odds, so I always have a convenient environmental feature to use in a daring stunt. This is a daring stunt, I think.
Yes, it is. I think the action is wreck. Is it fair?
Yes, it is. And I think there's more than one chandelier, but I'm going to drop the one that's closest to us. Let's see. I'm saying there's more than one chandelier in case I want to use chandeliers for other things later.
Of course.
Yes.
So, you have access to this. You have your bonus die from your ability. I think that, again, since they're not in a position to gun everyone down just yet, it is desperate standard, but it is desperate in the sense that you are personally in danger. Like, your gang hasn't entered yet, so your gang can't all be gunned down yet.
Yeah.
So, if that makes sense. It's desperate, but on a personal level.
Yeah.
But you have standard effect in that you can absolutely throw them in momentary disarray by doing this.
Let's have a look. Yeah, so I only have one dot in rec, so if there's some way that I can be assisted, if I can get a Devil's Bargain as well. Actually, no, I think I'll just push myself instead of taking Devil's Bargain, but I will welcome in assistance. Unless you have an interesting Devil's Bargain, of course.
Yeah, I'll leave the floor open for people to offer assistances here.
I can assist. And I think the way that I'm assisting is that much like what what Clem did for Saida, which the body remembered. I think Sri is even now, like up in the rafters, feels you making this attempt, feels you like challenging the demon, and lends you a bit of Sri's own strength through the bond that we share. It just makes you like physically like just a little bit faster.
All right, very good.
And the devil's bargain I don't think you will take this, but I think the logical devil's bargain here is to leave yourself open to Cosette's direct influence. It's still crying out orders and such. And I think if you want to, you can leave yourself open for this demon to basically talk as a free action to you. And it is a demon, so its voice is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Though we cannot be possessed.
Nope.
No. Wait. As in we can't, as in we shouldn't, or as we can't, as in we literally can't?
We can't.
You literally cannot be possessed. No, it can't just take over your body or anything like that. But if you take this devil's bargain, it will have the opportunity to speak to you in a very authoritative voice and try to dissuade you.
I mean, I'm going to take that because it's interesting. I want to hear. I as a listener and player want to know what it would say. So I'm going to take that devil's bargain just for that.
Good.
All right. Let's bring the chandelier down. Hopefully this works. It does work. It's a 6.
Nice.
It's a 6.
Nice.
Yeah. So the chandelier comes crashing down, and the falcon dives towards you. And then there is this moment where time basically just seems to stand still for a second. It is after all the demon that is very swift. So I think what we actually see is there's some sort of bullet time where everything else moves incredibly slowly around you. And in this stopped time where you can't move but you can still perceive things, you see this falcon turn into the strange outlined form of a humanoid, kind of. Like it takes on some sort of near human form.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is an interesting question for you. What does justice look like to Bidruhi? What do you see when you imagine the representation of justice?
So here's the thing. I know that, metatextually, I think when we think about justice, when we hear the word justice in 2024, with especially as with our particular political views and so on, we probably don't think about the actual concept itself and much more about punishment and jurisprudence and the police and so on as they really exist, right? But and that's, I think, the form that we are seeing justice take in this situation, right? It's something that is unjust, as it were, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is obviously a concept of justice that transcends actual politics and the world that we actually live in, right? There's the concept of justice as it should be, right? And that's something that's also something that we talk about, right? Environmental justice, racial justice, and so on, right?
Yeah.
So I think, despite everything, fundamentally, when Bidruhi thinks about justice, he imagines something good, right? So I think what he imagines is someone who looks like a kindly old woman, right? With long robes and so on, probably sitting under a tree somewhere sunny, right? There is because we do have sun. People do know what the sun kind of looks like, but so it's in that kind of sunset sort of vibe. So he imagines this kind of scene where he's sitting cross-legged in front of this great sage, who is going to hear him out and pronounce justice that is true justice, kind, all-encompassing, and unarguable with.
Yeah. And so this sagely person appears. The falcon flies forward, then transforms into the sagely old woman. Time seems to slow down. And I think there is this bizarre superposition of sunlit sitting under a tree, while at the same time you see all the chaos in the bank unform in ultra slow motion around you.
Yeah, I think the sunlight through the trees, the dappling effect through the leaves and so on, that is being replicated by the lights bouncing off the glass of the chandelier as it falls.
Yeah. And The old woman looks at you, troubled and concerned, and she simply says, "You are aware that you are about to commit murder, aren't you?"
Yes, I am. Bidre says, because I think this is a position where lying is impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she inclines her head, and she says, "And by what law do these people deserve to die?"
The unwritten law, ma'am. The unwritten law, because we, whom the written law does not represent, have not been able to write our law.
Is this the law of your Kethrys? The execution, the mass execution of strangers? Is this your Kethrys?
The execution, the mass execution of these strangers, ma'am, is precipitated and made inevitable by the laws of Uduasha that have compelled these men and these women to stand against us in the reclaiming of what is unlawfully taken from us. They have the option to stand down, or they did, until you took that choice away from them.
I offer you a choice, then. I offer restitution, negotiation. I offer a long-term plan for the peaceful return of your land.
That is generous, ma'am. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Budre would never interrupt Kuset.
Yeah.
Please continue.
I think the thing she adds is, in accordance with laws and customs.
But whose laws and customs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whose laws and customs indeed. I think the concept of justice looks at you and says, every human recognizes the need for debts to be repaid, for rights to be respected. You say I took away the choice of these people. The people of Kethrys had a choice. The gentlemen had a choice. They borrowed money from this bank of their own free will. These are the laws and customs I mean.
Then, ma'am, can it be so that the gentlemen of Kethrys made certain choices, and then, because of those choices, I live beside this river full of trash, away from my home, with my mother crying, my father wasting his life, or the man I thought was my father, wasting his life, turning sickles into swords? Can these choices made by these people who I have never met reverberate across my life and guide my actions and take them and reduce my will and my agency? Are these the laws?
Justice is longer than a single human lifespan. The choices you make now will mean others grow up by the shores of Kethrys, poor, destitute, desperate, without laws to govern them. You have this same. You choose to do the same thing here for future generations as past generations did for you. Is there not justice in that?
I think. I think, like, obviously, like in real life, Bidri would think about this and respond. But I think in the sort of like heightened sort of dream time that we're in, Bidri has the answers readily available, right? Because this is speed, right? despite the talk of long term. I think Bidruhi would just kind of like brighten up as he sees the obvious solution to this problem, and he respectfully says, "Yes, ma'am, you're right. These are my current choices inevitably will make it so, but this is suggesting that after this, I am not capable of making other choices. After we take our things back, and once we are in Kethrysi, I will make choices that will have good laws. I will make choices that will have my people no longer destitute and have them have not the wealth that can command nations and so on, unless that's something that happens because of other choices. At least that is not what I would want to make, but comfort and dignity that we currently do not have. And that is what I mean, ma'am. We make choices and then we make more choices. And that is the web. That is the architecture that I want to create."
And you are willing to face the consequences of these choices.
That is the... I mean, I'm posing. Bidruhi wouldn't pose. I'm trying to find the word. That is why choices and are a responsibility.
Yeah, I think the demon looks at you and it says, "So be it. I curse you with the consequences of your choice."
Thank you, ma'am.
And I think, this is possibly something you can resist. Otherwise, you will be cursed with consequences, whatever that means. And then time will unfreeze. And that is that.
I don't think I can resist the concept of consequences.
Yeah.
No,
I can. You can resist being cursed by whatever that means. Like there's a demon prince cursing you, but maybe it is a demon prince cursing you with what would have happened anyway. I mean, demon princes are sneaky that way, right? So.
Oh my god, it's a con. It's a con. It turns out Kused could never do anything. She's just an advanced con man.
Look, what is natural law if not things which happen naturally?
Yeah. I'm going to resist, and in the same way that you aren't telling me what I'm resisting, I'm not going to tell you how I'm resisting.
Good. Mostly, the thing that is interesting here is whether you defy this demon's judgment, and it seems that you do. So.
Yes, I have an interesting idea for how that could manifest, but we'll see. We'll get to that when we get to that.
You take a stress, and I think time resumes, and we'll give Bidruhi one more action. It's been a long cut to you, but I think it makes sense. So, this chandelier crashes to the floor. The falcon flies over your head. It was like flying at you, then it paused to be this old woman, and then it, time resumes. It flies over you, and I think maybe when it flies over you is when it intends to curse you or something, but that does not come to pass.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
Yeah. I want to do two things in quick succession. First, I'm going to, I've run in, right? I've run in. I've created a distraction. More and more of my people are coming in. I'm just going to do like a group action skirmish, not skirmish, like group action command with the cohort to just see how they do, as I set myself up for what I'm going to do. So this isn't me doing something as such. This is just me seeing what happens while I do my thing. Is that okay?
Okay. Yep. Command group action with the crew. Yeah, sure. It's sort of you've given them your orders, so that's why you roll command. It's like kind of a flashback. Makes sense. Yeah. You're not giving them an order in this moment, but you have given them order previously. Go ahead. I think we'll call this a bog standard risky standard. Like you have set up with this distraction and so on, so you can get your people through the door without them being shot up. So.
I think I'd still be desperate, no, because it's lives are on the line.
They are. Mostly, I'm framing this as risky standard, as in your cohort is not at risk at taking catastrophic damage immediately, which they otherwise would have been. Okay.
And standard, I suppose, means that the fight continues. I think that's the fiction that I want. So, risky standard, I'm not going to push myself or anything else. And we have two cohorts. I'm going to roll for them both.
Sure. You can have them all be part of one group action here. It makes sense. So
yeah,
it's quite a lot of dice, but
yeah. We have Blood Brothers, which means they get +1 dice for teamwork rolls. We also have Kethrys Zindabad, where they get +1 dice to rolls against enemies of the faith.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just do that. Okay, so
yeah,
rolling for cohorts with 2 bonus dice. Rolling for the Badmaishes with 2 bonus dice.
Yeah, okay, we have a 6 already.
Where the hell is my character sheet? Oh, there it is.
So let's see if this becomes a critical or...
Yeah, okay, so the Badmaishes should roll 5 dice total. Let's see if that happens. No, they should roll 1 more dice.
You take a stress unless...
No, they're fine. Okay. They're good. Oh, we have a crit because we have the ability that means that if you get multiple 6s, you get a crit, right? We have that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So
very good.
It is a critical success, which I will simply let this be. Like, this roll was mostly to get them safely into the room and engaged in combat without them being gunned down immediately.
Yay.
Right? But since you crit, they set you up. So you have a setup action on your side for whatever you aim to do. But I think we'll cut there. I think it's a good moment to like dramatically see what Bidruhi is about to do.
I'll just frame that because I'll just tell you what it is. I think it makes more sense.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not an action roll.
Okay.
It is demand satisfaction.
Okay.
You can issue a challenge to a single opponent to compel them to fight you for a few minutes. Take 1 stress to draw their full attention. +1 stress for each of the extra feature. They fight you for a few minutes rather than moments. Their companions don't intervene for the duration. Your duel attracts a supportive audience.
Okay. Are you dueling the Falcon? Is that what's going on? Okay, fantastic. We will cut back to that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, makes sense. This is not necessarily you saying this. This is just you like issuing the challenge, and this will happen.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, I have a good idea for how this will happen, but we'll cut back to it. So Bidruhi demands satisfaction of the concept of justice incarnate, and meanwhile, Mushfik, Clem, and Georgina, as well as Zahir and Mona. I mean, you've drawn the attention of a lot of other people, and you succeeded at this. So you tell me, do you want to arrive in the trophy room before Saturman or after Saturman?
I'm more interested in trying to figure out what Ixis is up to, and if there's any way I can find out.
I have an idea for this.
Well, it's up to you. What I'm giving you a choice between now is literally just you attracted people here. So my question is, since you succeeded, do you want to enter this trophy room and set stuff up before people arrive, or do you want to enter a room that already has people in it?
Okay, so I would assume that, I'd think that they would enter the trophy room, and it would take them some time to investigate, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely, it will.
Yeah, so...
I'm just asking how to frame the scene, right? If it's like you enter it and then prepare, or you come upon them as they're investigating. It's your call.
I think coming up on them as they're investigating is fine.
Okay, then I think what we see is you are in this room and we see Saturman. Like, he is the person who draws attention. You've had a description of him to begin with, right? And I think he is probably, like many of the Hive, like of mixed Iruvian and Dagger Islander heritage. And I'm imagining him as a quite wiry guy. Let me see what we have defined on him real quick. Does someone have that easily available? Well, I have it here. Yeah, he's calm and patient, but physically I imagine him as a kind of wiry guy, like tough leathery skin, quite thin, has like that worn appearance to him. He's been through a lot. He wears the same uniform as the other people, but with some pauldrons and some other decorations. And yeah, this man has his sword drawn at the moment and is touching the tip of it to the tree very, very carefully. He is aware that there is something like spiritual bullshit here. I think he has the other Hive enforcers with him. He probably has some sort of like 2-bit whisper, right? So like someone behind him who has some sort of talisman, some like Hive person that's with him as a second in command. But obviously, as Georgina enters, he would defer to her knowledge. And there's a ton of other Hive people in here as well.
One of the quirks of the Hive is that they are strict adherents of the Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh, so they abhor the spirit world. Something that is probably relevant here.
Yeah, that they are very, very cautious of this, in fact, and this makes sense. So I think the person behind him then it's not a 2-bit whisper, it's someone who has like some spirit bane charms and is, trying to counter whatever influence is going on here. So he is tapping this tree with the tip of his sword. And you guys can take the initiative, of course, but I think Georgina enters the room with this gauntlet held up. And I think she, unless you do something, she will immediately issue him a warning to back away. Because this tree is very dangerous.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will have her speak, and you guys can feel free to act at any moment. But she raises this gloved hand, and she says, "Back off. Back off. There's something very wrong with this. How did this even get in here?" And Platterman, I think, just says rather laconically, "Well, your pet was supposed to be checking it out, but it isn't here. I don't know what's become of it." And this startles and brings her to a pause for a moment. The Hive people clear away from the tree, back away from it, surrounded by all of these other artifacts, as she approaches. And what is happening here is that she is holding up this gauntlet. She's trying to figure out what happened to her unwarden that was supposed to be making sure everything in here was safe and doing whatever it can to delete whatever dangerous spiritual influences are going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there is this moment now of them trying to piece together what has happened. And what do? Mushfik and also Clem. You have a couple of moments here because they're not going to figure this out immediately. So you can mess with what they're doing. You can reposition yourselves in the room. You can look around. You can do any number of things.
Yeah. Salty, any preferences? We could just... we could walk up to the tree and... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mushfik was the one who wanted to come down here.
Yeah.
So I think Clem's deferring.
All right. Yeah. Should be simple enough to just, walk up to the tree and do some, spiritual world fuckery here. And
you want to unleash the ghost army held within? Or
well, we couldn't we? But it'd be so much more fun to unleash that on Ixis instead. But we don't know where Ixis is, and the character doesn't know.
I could set you up to find out where Ixis is.
All right.
Because I have ghost mind, demon mind, which means I'm always aware of supernatural entities in my presence, and I get an extra die when I gather info about the supernatural.
Okay.
And I know now that the demon houses are here, and it's probably a good idea to try and figure out what's going on. And I don't know that apparently there's some kind of fucking supernatural ban on the place, so it's probably risky, but I would like to find out where Ixis is and potentially tell my friends.
Okay, sure. You have Bound in Darkness, so this is possible. Shall we do that first then? So
yeah, that's what I'm hoping. So if this is a setup action, then I can put Mushfik in a good spot to take on Ixis.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are still hanging in the rafters of this place with all the traps going off.
Right.
I will say it will be difficult for you to get out here. I don't think it's the case that they're just continuously spraying everything with steam, but you haven't figured out what triggers these. So if you step 100%. Down the floor, there's every risk you step on a pressure plate and they go off again.
Yeah, that's why I'm up there.
For the moment. Yeah, exactly. So you're hanging in the rafters. You don't have a way out, but you can, of course, search spiritually from here. Yes, that is possible.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to do is locate Ixis.
Well,
that's your goal,
locate. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Sri knows it's Ixis specifically. I think Sri is trying to figure out what supernatural influences are here and what I need to be warning people of. Certainly, when time stopped for a moment, Sri was experienced deja vu or something for a second. It's like something just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So
Very well.
I'm just trying to
So because of your abilities, this is not outright impossible for you. But you are trying to detect the influence of secret, blade, shadow, silence, nothing.
Correct.
So you have 0 effect as you start out. It's not impossible, but I will start you at 0 because one does not easily find this particular demon prince, even when they have dropped their alter ego.
Yeah. Mushfiq, do you want to do a group action instead then, if we're starting at 0?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. So I will start you off at, I don't think it's quite desperate 0. And the reason for that is that like you're reaching out and you place yourself in a desperate position if you give anything at all away. But we're starting off at risky 0.
Okay. I am happy to lead this and push myself to get to limited effect. And with limited effect, will we know that Ixis is here for sure?
Yes.
Okay.
You will not know any details, but
in that case, I would like to. Do you want to trade position for effect?
That would bring us up to what, desperate standard?
Yep. Desperate standard with Sri and Kethrys leading. Okay, group action.
Cool.
Okay, desperate standard, Attune group action, and Sri has paid 2 stress.
Yeah.
All good so far.
I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think we got this.
Yeah, 6 dice. I mean, come on, it's 6 dice.
I have a devil's bargain from Mushfiq specifically, which is really bringing out the sadistic GM in me. Which is, you can take this if you want. Your devil's bargain is simply that you, as you search for Ixis, do not pay attention to Clem. And therefore, whatever happens, Clem will be in the firing line for whatever Ixis does.
Salty's over there rubbing their hands together.
Yeah.
But you see, a good boyfriend isn't too overprotective, you know.
Yeah.
This is out of character.
It is also a fucking demon prince. So I'm telling you, taking this devil bargain explicitly puts Clem into the firing line of Ixis' machinations, which of course everyone has to consent to, but I think it's a fun thing to offer. And I will
remind you that Clementine literally has an ability that says, "I'm the same as demons. Don't worry about it."
And I have a spear that can kill God.
Yeah. That is also true.
Yeah. No, I know.
Let's make this fair. 5-on-1. Let's go.
I think we're okay with putting them in the line of fire then, right?
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Good.
Desperate. I will roll my desperate standard, and then you get 1 bonus die. I rolled 3, a 1, and a 1, so please roll better than this.
I get an extra die. Yes, desperate standard bonus die. I rolled better.
Okay, so 5. I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay.
I took 1 stress for myself.
Okay. So this is the desperate consequence, including this devil's bargain. So you guys figure out that Ixis is present. But the first thing we cut to is, Clem, you are stumbling around in a hallway in a bank with total amnesia.
Oh my god! Who are these people around you?
And no, there's no one around you. You're in some hallway. You turned away and you don't remember who you are. This is temporary, but for the moment you have a temporary level 3 harm total amnesia. And Mushfik, Ixis is standing behind you wearing Clem's form.
Oh my god!
And wearing it better. Let's be real. Let's really twist that knife.
Yeah, so this is what the both of you realize. Ixis replaced Clem at some point in the past few minutes.
Or past few,
this can be
years.
Resisted, but yeah, who knows, right? So, like Clem, you're in a position to resist having total amnesia if you want, and make this less of a problem, or you can deal with it. It is temporary. You can be snapped out of it. Or you know, Mushfik can attempt to protect Clem here. But actually, no, you can't. You took the devil's bargain. So, Clem, you can resist this if you want, but you can't be protected.
Ow. I've taken Audacious. I'm collateral damage here.
Okay. Defend yourself from collateral damage.
And
okay.
I do this. I think Clem's keeping an iron grip on their memories ever since they've been gaining some and losing others.
Yeah.
And it's if you want my memories, I'm fucking taking yours too then.
Oh my god!
Fantastic. Yes, this is precisely the chink in your armor that Ixis was exploiting, that your memories are screwed up. So I think if you resist this consequence, then you are still separated from Mushfik. Like, you're still not where Mushfik is, because Ixis at some point still managed to like replace or infiltrate you. But with the resistance, you have realized that this is happening. So you're still some distance out of the way. Ixis has some of your memories, and you have some of its most recent memories, which means that you also realize what is going on. I think, marking this special armor. However, we are still in the dangerous position that a demon prince has replaced Clem, is standing right behind you, and is ready to do something against you, Mushfik. So, because of your success, you are not taken completely by surprise, and you may act.
Okay, so Mushfik knows that this is like Ixis. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Bound in Darkness, right? So I think you realize that, like, wait, that you reach. Basically, what happens is you reach out to Sri and Kethrys for the both of you to scan this together, and you expect Clem to reach out, and you're like, wait, that's not Clem.
Yeah, how come Clem didn't join the group action? This is why.
You realize it happens when Ixis does the Mission Impossible reveal, take off the face mask thing to reveal Ethan Hunt underneath, except underneath there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought underneath it would be Clem again, but okay.
Yeah. So. There are several things going on here, because there's still Georgina and Saturman, who are both dangerous in their own right, and Ixis is standing behind you.
Yeah, so can we establish, first of all, that Ixis has only replaced Clem in the last few minutes and not for years?
Yes, we can. Okay. I mean, Salty can fuck with this however much they like, because Clem has been having these odd memory holes for a long time.
Yeah.
But
did you secretly get married to Ixis? Man, I don't know.
But something definitely happened in these past few minutes.
Isn't it a coincidence that isn't it such a coincidence that Moss had to leave when Clem showed up?
Which was right after Ixis first made contact with you.
Salty, what do you have to say for yourself? Salty, not Clem. Salty, what do you have to say for yourself?
I know what Salty will have to say for themselves. They will say lol. Lamau.
Very good.
Oh, that's very good. Roll. That's incredible. I love this.
Okay. Cool. Mushfik is a simple-minded fellow. I think he'll just go, "Hey, wait a minute," and this just
wait a minute. I'm walking here.
Why order?
Of course, you realize this means war. Yeah, and it does mean war. I think we can embellish this, but I think if Mushfik realizes what's going on, what he will do is unleash his ghost army.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can unleash the ghost army in this moment. That's perfectly possible. That sounds incredibly desperate, because like there are, let me remind you, entirely beside the demon Ixis, there's a whole bunch of hive guys, including their leader, who are all like, fuck ghosts are the worst, let's kill anyone who tries to invoke ghosts. And you're trying to invoke ghosts in front of them.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that I would think that there'd be some kind of action to even get to the tree in the first place.
I think that's less interesting though, so let's have it skip to.
One thing to remember about the hive and their and the church at the ecstasy of the flesh is that aside from hating ghosts and the ghost field, they love demons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. And there happens to be one right here. But anyway, yes, I think your action here can be either attune or command or something. It depends on how you do this. But I don't think you necessarily have to touch the tree, right? I think you have a spiritual link to it already. So,
but it's cooler if I do. So let me just. Okay, we can embellish the scene with things later. But I think what Mushfiq would do, I think, is so we've attuned, to find out where Ixis is. Mushfiq realizes that it was Clem for the last few minutes, and hopefully not forever. And
hopefully not, yeah.
Yeah, and I said hopefully not for as long as he's known Clem, only for the time being. And what he would do, I think, again, he's a soldier and very simple-minded, like a mind like a train, right? On tracks, and he only responds, I think, in the way that he's always known to respond, which is to attack or counterattack. So I think what he'd do is, once he realizes what's going on, try to get to first of all, get away from Ixis because it's a demon and you want to stay away. So, hookshot onto the tree, on one of the upper branches, and say something cool, which I can't think of right now, and then, release the ghosts.
I think it is entirely in character for Mushfiq to rope up on top of the tree, look down at everyone, and literally say something cool, and then unleash the ghost.
Yeah.
Very good. It's up to you what sort of action this is.
Seems like more attuning, because I mean, getting the tree I don't think is interesting, because after all, I do have Tiger's Fury. I can be anywhere if necessary. I'll push myself to be there. And I think I know what Mushfiq will say, because it's a tree after all from Kethrys, or supposed to be from Kethrys, and but it definitely has the souls of Kethrysi people, and he says that you all want Kethrys so bad, you can have it, and then the ghosts come out.
Good. Okay, so if you're pushing yourself to get on top of the tree, you can push yourself as part of this action, and that will give you the +1 die, and it will also give you the position to be up on it. So that might be useful later.
All right.
And I guess it can be. It sounds like either attune or command to me. One of those two.
Attune seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be anything but desperate. Like I said, there are so many ways this can go badly. But it's standard effect. You can unleash your ghost bomb, ghost army, ghost thing.
Cool. And if I were to...
If you were to go for great effect, I think your ghosts would also get the drop on everyone involved. As it is, you unleash them and everyone realizes what you're doing. If you want great effect, what great effect would do is that everyone's just surprised as the ghosts burst from the tree very suddenly.
Okay, but how do I get great effect? Because I pushed myself to do this. I can't push myself a second time.
I think you can push for both effect and a die, right? You just can't stack them. So.
You can push yourself for effect and a die. It just costs you 4 stress.
Cool. Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not?
Okay.
I recovered a trauma.
Yeah.
Why
not? Because it's a 6.
Yes. Okay. So you say you can have it, and then an army of ghostly soldiers that look, I think, they're Baldmurad's relatives. But it has been established that his family also resisted. So I think for Mushfiq, this is eerily familiar, right? They're the same kind of guerrilla fighters you fought with. They're not your company, but they're another company just like it. And they burst forth from the tree as the spirit energy is unleashed. The whole room lights up in blue. And yeah, the hive is incredibly startled. And I think, in fact, most of the regular hive goons that surround Saturman, the effect you get from Great here is they simply rout. They panic and they run. So Saturman doesn't because he's a badass, and maybe one or two of his closest and most trusted soldiers don't, but like the rest of them just panic and lose their shit altogether. And I want to cut to Clem. You are in some other part of the bank. Like, you resisted this, but it still exists, so there are still consequences. One of which is you don't know precisely where you are. You know what's going on, but what do you do?
I would like to call Ixis back to me.
Okay. Fantastic.
If it's got my memories and I've got some of its memories, there's something to latch onto there. And I also have a terrible supernatural war cry now, which has potency against supernatural foes. And it's also anything but subtle.
Oh my god.
So you just want to call out and be like, fight me, bitch? Is that the...
Salty, please make the noise.
No.
Okay, so your goal here is to get Ixis to what? Show up and fight you? Or show up and just be near you? Or what do you want? What do you hope will happen?
Draw him away from the others.
Okay.
Yeah, I think draw Ixis here.
Yeah. So the goal is not to have Ixis like step out in front of you and fight you, but just to be distracted and drawn towards you. That I think you can do with your Terrifying Warcry. Because it has potency against the supernatural, I think you have standard effect on this, even though it is a demon prince. Because you're not necessarily trying to get the upper hand on it, you are literally just trying to distract it a little bit, which I think is possible with this ability.
Come here and face me.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, if you wanted Ixis to face you without cheating, you would also start off with 0 effect. But if you just want it to be distracted, you have standard effect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a demon prince. I have no reason not to call this desperate. Like, it can show up and still do horrible things to you as a consequence. So
you're
it's
using
its
memories to do this, right?
Yeah.
These are the memories of a demon prince. You probably don't like them.
No, probably don't.
I will take a stress to assist you.
Okay. Desperate standard it is.
Feels like a command. What would great get me?
I think great would get you... Well, I think great would mean not only does it come towards you, but you have some advance warning. Because I think this thing is sneaky as fuck. So with standard effect, like, you draw it towards you and then you have no idea what it does next. Desperate great, you draw it towards you and it acts rashly enough that you have some idea of what it's trying to do.
Yeah, actually, I figured out what my assistance is. I am speaking to you the names of Ixis in the tongue in which you should speak them in order to get its attention.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Oh yeah, it's like Shree's telling them to Clem and Clem speaking with Shree's voice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I feel like this is a command. I'm going to push myself for great effect.
Okay.
And is there a Devil's Bargain hanging around there somewhere?
Okay, let me think for a second. I'm just trying to look at what NPCs have been established as being where at this point. I think everyone is accounted for, everyone we've introduced at least.
Is there something... Okay,
I'm done.
No, I have a straightforward Devil's Bargain, actually, which is you remember the layout of the bank and Ixis remembers the layout of the bank. But I think your Devil's Bargain is it will be literally impossible for everyone else to figure out where this is taking place. So you will be cut off from Mushfit.
Pretty sick. That's pretty sick, though.
I have another one. If I may suggest it. Ixis is never without contingency plans. It has set a watchdog on you already to make sure that you don't do anything funny. The watchdog is your shadow.
Oh, you great mind thinks alike, Zoheb, but this is in fact something that's already happening. So it's not
Yay!
It's not an appropriate Devil's Bargain. Ixis has contingency plans, it's just a thing that it does.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Devil's Bargain is that you have been periodically replaced with Ixis over the last year without your knowledge. That's just gonna be true.
I mean, that's incredibly fucked up, but
Yep. So I want to be clear that like it's very fucked up, and I don't think you should take it. But
I'm going to take it anyway. But I just want the one die for having a metaphysical fucked up bank space anyway, because I like both of them.
Okay, so you're taking both mine and trees. Okay, good. You have been gradually replaced by Ixis, which I think makes perfect sense given what we've set up about you, and Ixis has contingency plans. And also, you're in some sort of fucked up, impossible bank dimension. Yeah, good.
It's the bank dimension.
No.
Yes.
Also, maybe your shadow's going to fight you. Who knows?
Yeah, but you only get one bonus die from all this, and it's desperate, and it's great effect, so fantastic.
Yeah, but take my assist bonus die as well.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, I have a god on my side too.
Yep, you do.
Good enough.
But not anyway.
Okay, it's a 5. So what will happen here is that like in this weird fucked up like corridors and offices and desks, and I'm imagining this looking something like a 19th century version of like the offices from the Matrix, the beginning there, just like bland, soulless, unidentifiable bank offices. You see a shadowy man or a shadowy figure actually enter this office space and move about. It's indistinguishable, but it's Ixis. It's coming towards you, moving between bank spaces, kind of half jumping from shadow to shadow, but it is approaching and you can see it. This is the advantage, or this is the success. The desperate consequence is that you tap into its memories to try to figure this out. And what this does in response is to dump back on you all at once it hasn't quite been a year. We don't know how long it has been undercover for tax reasons, but a while, months at least. So it's going to brute force dump back on you all of its memories of being an office clerk slave for these past couple of months. Just years and years of awful meetings, of paperwork, of the most horrible desk job hell imaginable.
That one guy looking at Neo and saying, "Mr. Anderson."
Uh-huh. So, this is a level 3 harm meaninglessness.
Oh my! They already have a level 3 harm, right?
That was resisted.
That was resisted.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I'm going to resist this because I have a mind link with an ancient scholar from Old Itri, which, if I'm not incorrect, is from the 4.
Yes.
The Demon Princes.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Whatever. That's very.
You're neither correct nor incorrect.
Wonderful.
That's
okay. Well, you can make a resistance roll here. Yeah. I still think there will be. Yeah. Let's see your roll.
His,
Thanks.
Yeah, up this.
Okay. So what will happen here is you will still take a level 2 harm. I think you downgrade this, and this level 2 harm is, let's call it something like lack of focus or something like that. Like it's just hard for you to think at the moment because you have been. Yeah, it's mainlined a whole bunch of memories into your brain, right? And you can deal with this sort of, but
yes.
Yeah, your mind is somewhat scrambled. This will probably not impede you in like a straight up fight, but it will impede like mental actions like studying and stuff because you're going to keep remembering like, oh no, I have to file that tax report.
I have to take that exam and I'm not wearing any pants.
Yes. This is the vibe. This is how Ixis fights, by the way. By like
very
overloading you with traumatic nightmares of being late for work. But yeah, that's the situation. But Clem, you have the initiative. You have spotted it approaching you, which I don't think Ixis expects. And I think, in fact, because you have this memory link, it's not that you can see it, because seeing Ixis is pretty much impossible. It's that you can remember where it was, like 0.2 seconds ago, because you can have access to its memories. So in all of these visions, you also see its memories of where I was just now, which is how you know it's approaching.
And I would like to speak a cause, belief, or intention, and immediately learn how Ixis feels about it, which is, you are a prince of a 6-part world.
Oh shit.
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Prince of a 6-part world. I think it has to accept it. I think this is one of those things where you speak it, and it has no choice but to accept that this is true. I mean, it set up all of this contingency plan to somehow exploit or win out of this, but of all the demon princes, the one that is quickest to accept changing circumstances, I think Ixis is the one. So I think it agrees. There is validity to the Prince of Endings. This does not mean that it is a friend of the Prince of Endings, because Ixis hates all of its siblings. Let's be clear.
Hey,
but
the passive Ixis fell in love with Saida.
Yeah.
Which
I
kind
bet
of means...
Ixis is the older sibling, is what I'm hearing.
I bet the validity is you understand it has validated it because you suddenly feel this kind of pressing on your brain as though there's a big stamp that says approved.
Yeah.
Shock. I hate
But
this
yes,
feeling. Yeah.
I think you learn in this moment that Ixis is accepting that the 6th demon prince is real. And maybe it hadn't even fully done it until you said it, but it does now. This does not in any sense mean that it thinks of the Prince of Endings as a friend, but it thinks of it as a peer, yes.
Good. I'm writing down in my notes, powered up by Ixis.
Yep.
I would like to use that initiative, because I gain initiative when I honestly declare this, and I've got an advantage to pierce Ixis right through the chest where they will be in 0.2 seconds.
Okay. All right. So you're stabbing it with your demon-killing spear. Well. Yeah, you've set yourself up so well that I suppose this must be possible, including this validation. So, it is a thing that can be done. And I am going to make a clock for it, though, because I don't think it can be done in a single action.
I think the interesting thing is, obviously, Ixis knows you're going to do that. And it's all part of its plan to get stabbed. So actually what's going to happen is, for you, it's that there's an element of that is not part of its plan. It thinks, haha, yeah, I'm going to get stabbed, and then I'll show you. But it will not show you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm typing up the clock. It is called Ixis is spending more than a year dead for non-tax reasons, and it is a 10 clock.
Excellent.
And let's say that you have standard effect, which means 2 ticks on this clock. So it is difficult to do this, but you have the spear. You can, and I think more than ticking this clock twice, by stabbing it with the spear, you sort of establish the possibility of Ixis dying, right? So the clock can be advanced from that point on as also an outcome if you succeed. It is hellishly desperate, though. So incredibly desperate standard effect.
Wonderful. That's my favorite.
And it will start the clock of killing Ixis, and it will also metaphysically make Ixis killable.
Excellent.
Okay. Would bringing in my dearest friend, my professor, my teacher, my kindly scholar, because we've got a mind link, right? With that.
Yep.
Help, because it has potency when fighting the supernatural as well.
Yes, you can do a group action. Yeah, you can do a group action with it, and you will have great effect. I accept this.
Excellent. And
oh man,
it's desperate great.
I am going to push myself for increase.
Okay, so then it's desperate extreme.
And now, would you say destroy? When will destroyer come in? Because I'm unaffected by quality or tier when I destroy, sabotage, or smash something.
Yeah. So, that is a good question. I think here what we will do.
Fighting something.
Yeah, you're fighting something. You're not smashing an inanimate object. So I'm not sure it 100% applies, not beyond extreme at least, but it does make a difference. You are setting this up to be destroyable. So we're looking at Desperate Extreme. On a success, you will tick the clock 5 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's up to you what action it is. It sounds like skirmish more than wreck, though, because you are setting up this stab, but it can be a wreck.
It is indeed. So I feel like it is skirmish. I'll be rolling 3 dice with Professor. Anybody got an assist? That'd be
Yeah.
really nice.
Unless Bidrohi wants to, I'm happy to.
Yeah, I think I'd like to assist. I think so. It hasn't been entirely. Excess hasn't been you for the entire year, right? That's not been established, but like sometimes it has been, right?
It's been leeching away, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of like it'll always have been you, excess all along, right? But not like this is something that it's a lie that's becoming true, right? Something like that. Is the vibe that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can flash back to a long range of conversations that were had between Clem and Bidrohi. Conversations that, unlike the conversations that were had with all the other members of the Rising Moon Source School, where there was like a lot of like kind of like people, like you guys got each other, and there was that kind of like back and forth. But like all the conversations that we saw with Bidrohi and Clem, where it was clearly like these two don't get each other, I think that can be your anchor point. Because if that was excess all along, then excess would have been like, yes, Bidrohi, I totally get it. You're right. But all those conversations where we were not getting along very well, that was just human incomprehension. That was you.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful.
I'm going to take a stress because those conversations stressed Bidrohi out.
Very good.
Understandable.
Yeah. All right. Desperate Great. I don't have a Devil's Bargain. I thought about it, but I can't think of anything.
Bonus die there. That is a success.
A 6.
Like,
Okay.
There
So,
we go. 6.
nice.
Very nice.
You stab the form of the demon, and for a moment, I think like it's revealed, and you see before you this like Ixis doesn't really have a form. It has multiple names. It has multiple like aspects, but it doesn't really have any true appearance. And so I think the only way that you can see it here is this is again Clem fighting Clem, which you've done before. I think it looks like you. So you impale it on the spear, and it like bears your form simply because it was the last form that it was showing off to someone. It's run through by the spear. It looks into your eyes, and so this cuts into Clem's multiple traumas and multiple flashbacks. I think it is the case here that demons can be destroyed by what they love. We have established this. This is a thing that can be wielded against them. The reason why Ixis weasels out of this and does not die immediately, which it otherwise would, like you've set yourself up perfectly, the only thing that saves it is that you do not love yourself.
Oh my god!
I have a Devil's Bargain for when you next attack this. That is kind of relevant to this.
Oh my god, Prince! I'm fucking... I mean, I did have therapy today, but fucking...
I hope this is a valid interpretation of Clem, but this is the vibe I'm getting, right? So...
It's okay. You don't have to love yourself, baby. Mushfik's right there.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was going to say that maybe Mushfik's love and support, Clem can learn to love themselves.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We will see what happens, but I think this is the like demons are traumatizing. So, are you okay with it, Salty?
All good, yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
If you attack again, I want to propose my Devil's Bargain while it's irrelevant.
Okay.
But let's see
you
the
want to
other
propose it
person
now?
who's killing the demon.
Yeah.
We can't all have.
Yeah. Okay.
We all need.
Do you want to propose?
Scenes.
Yes, I'll just propose my Devil's Bargain so that we can think about it in the
Good.
meantime.
Uh-huh.
Every time you attack Excess successfully, instead of dying, one of its alter egos, Masters of Disguise, the people who are in the shadows all along, they're going to die. So the next time you attack Excess, Mr. Rohini is going to die. Time after that, Munna is going to die. The time after that, someone in the Vigilant is going to die, etc.
Yeah, that's an interesting devil's bargain. We can leave that to think on it.
Yeah.
And,
I think fighting the demon princes of Uduasha should, at least for Ixis, should involve essentially destroying part of what makes up Uduasha.
Yeah. It makes sense. Ixis is very, very spread out. And yeah, demon princes. The interesting thing about this too is demon princes are destroyed by what they love, and perhaps they do love Uduasha.
Yeah.
So perhaps it goes both ways.
Yeah, I think at least for Ixis, it makes sense that just like you were an alter ego, these other people that we've seen across the campaign, they're also alter egos.
Yeah.
I liked this. Where I thought you were going was, I thought the first name you were going to say was going to be Aaron.
No, I was looking for people who have been in the shadows and kind of like our puppet masters.
Yeah, no, but like Aaron's been literally hiding behind what do you call it?
It's true.
Spa thing, right?
We will see.
Been hiding, but he's also like emotionally tough. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, this devil's bargain might not even be taken. We will see. I will leave that as a cliffhanger until we cut back to Salty and Clem. And for the moment, Bidrohi.
Yes.
I think it's a good moment to rotate to Bidrohi. And so you have called out the concept of justice to single combat, which is incredible. And so I think what we see is this fight unfolds all around us, and maybe Bidrohi even perceives it a little bit in slow motion still from the demons. Like, so we see Bidrohi move through this room, and like people firing shots, people taking cover, people engaging in melee, and like the fight's just begun. No one's dead yet. This is all going incredibly quickly, but you have your cohort in position. The falcon turns in the air, and it flies straight into the back of one of the hive's soldiers. And it flies straight into the back of a woman on the front lines, just a completely anonymous member of the hive. And she stumbles forward as she's hit as the falcon flies into her from behind. And then all of a sudden, she's holding a golden sword. It appears in her hand and jerks her forward like a puppet. And you are fighting justice, and justice is a blade.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, that you said puppet. I'm imagining Wuxia Wirefu.
Yeah.
Okay, so I used demand satisfaction, which let's read it again. I issued a challenge to a single opponent to compel them to fight me for a few moments, and I take 1 stress just to do that, so I'll just do that, and then I have some extra features that I can call in for 1 stress.
Yeah.
So I can make it last a few minutes rather than moments. I'm not going to do that because it's Kuset. I don't think I need minutes. This is going to be decided in moments, right? So I'm going to keep it that. Their companions don't intervene for the duration. I think it'd be cool. Like if they have the time to shoot us, that's fine. I don't mind. I am, however, interested in attracting a supportive audience, and I have a very audacious request for what this supportive audience could be. Okay. Because obviously, I'm surrounded by my people, so that's not an extra feature. I want Serek, Kayat, and Rakesh to show up.
Oh my god!
And watch
they are
this.
Gonna fucking disembowel you.
Okay, you want the other demon princes to see this very well
and be supportive.
Yeah, I think with a single stress. Yeah, I think with a single stress, you cannot get them to show up in the way Ixis has shown up with their whole selves, but you can have an aspect of each of the 3 see you and support you.
I'm okay with that.
Yes,
I'm okay with that. And the reason I say support is that we talked. Tree mentioned this earlier about how too many cooks, right? These 5 have, in whatever sort of arcane sort of like agreement they have with each other, like family or whatever. Family doesn't get along, not really. And 5 kings don't get along, but somehow they have, and whatever rivalries they have, they're beyond arcane, but they do exist. So it does not follow at all that just because these other 3 are going to show up, that they're going to be like, Kuset. Our boy Kuset, he needs help. They'll be like, haha, lol.
Of course,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Haha. Yes. So I'm here. I'm calling upon them in their aspect as haha lol. And then we shall see what happens next.
It makes sense. You may spend a stress for this, and I think the vibe here is that there is this beautiful mosaic representing the demon houses along one wall, and it comes alive. and the serpent, the peacock, and the bull stir in the mosaic, and these three animals look at you and behold you.
Yeah, the peacock starts laughing like a hyena, I think, and let's see
Yes.
what else happens.
And this poor possessed woman is like dragged towards you by the sword, and her sword arm is a lot faster than the rest of her. It's like the possession is spreading through her body, but it begins in the sword hand. So the initial movement is of her like being pulled along by the weapon.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
I mean, I'm fighting a sword that has a wielder, because a sword must have a wielder.
Yes.
The wielder is unimportant, which means that actually, I mean, I can, decapitate her. It will not make a difference, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A sword must have a wielder, though, and this Kuset is swift and decisive and bound by law. So make of that what you will.
So I'm going to cut off her arm, aiming to get her wrist. The problem with getting a wrist, of course. So the wrist would be the best thing, because that's just like that'll just be a hand holding a sword, and clearly Kuset is not going to be able to make anything of that. If I were to get her shoulder, then there'd be a shoulder bouncing around on the floor that could still get me. Elbow, less dangerous. Wrist is the least harmful. So, unfortunately, that would mean getting up quite close for the blow. So I'm going to. I imagine that's like what, desperate great or something.
That would be required. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to. I don't know. Get all enemy up in here and wait for the last moment.
Okay.
Yeah. For my stroke.
Yeah, you have demanded satisfaction, and you are in single combat. Obviously, it's desperate. But I'm starting you off with limited because you're fighting a demon. You have some limited precisely because of demand satisfaction. I think you've drawn them into single combat. You've forced them to engage you a bit on your terms. But it's limited at first, which is basically like you can fight them off, but not sever any limbs with just a single success.
Okay.
You can, of course, push yourself or do things to that, and so on.
So I've been set up, and I also have Ghost Fighter. Do they come into this?
The setup, I was counting into it already.
Okay.
So that's your limited. Like, I was going to start you with Desperate 0, because that's how it's done. You were set up, so that's Desperate Limited. Ghost Fighter will bring you up to Desperate Standard, which is not great, but Desperate Standard will allow you to wound her.
Yeah. I'm going to aim for that chop, I think. Let's see how I can do that. So I'm going to mark my fine elegant weapon, my fine buckler and blade, because you don't show up to fight Kuset without all your stuff.
Okay.
This means that I no longer have any other items, so I will not go there.
Okay, I think if you're marking 2 fine items, I think that should be enough to give you 1 more potency for Desperate Great. I think that's fine.
This is the sword with Mumtaz's name on it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's fucking go.
Okay, it's Desperate Great.
Now, if there's Devil's Bargains and Assist coming this way, this is very important, because, as I've said, I am maxed out on items, and I'm going to. I will not have armor to protect myself.
Yep.
I have a Devil's Bargain idea.
Okay, what is it?
You have a sword with Mumtaz's name on it, and Mumtaz is a professional conman, and you are fighting the law. And if there is anything that happens to the sword, it will happen to her.
Okay, I think we haven't established the sword possibly breaking or anything, so I think this is a less interesting Devil's Bargain, because you could get away with it being completely fine. I do, however, think that a suitable Devil's Bargain is that this reveals her. Like, the blades will have to clash for a moment, and as the Demon Prince touches her name, he will recognize it as an alias, and he will strip it away from her. Like, she won't. It's not that she will lose her name or anything, but like this secret identity, this false identity that she spent years setting up, will be unraveled in an instant as the blades cross.
That is a huge shame, but it will have to be. I'm going to take the Devil's Bargain.
Good.
All right. So that's me at 4 dice. Is there anything relevant? Any advantage I could I could squeeze out. Let me have a quick look at all my stuff.
I'm going to. Have you got an assist? Because if you haven't, I'll
No, I've
assist
not.
you. I'll use my final stress and trauma out.
Wonderful.
Which means I'll have however much stress remaining. And I think you can feel Clem is also fighting a demon prince here as well. And we are one, brother.
Let us finally understand each other. Through violence.
Amazing.
Why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah, let's afford though.
Royalty is a continuous cutting motion.
Well, more like a zigzag kind of sawing. It's not very continuous. We're working on it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a
So
4.
you got your great success, which means cutting this hand off at the wrist.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think what you get is, for your great success, is you win this duel. And you win it, like, you can describe how that looks, because your consequence will have nothing to do with you getting injured or anything. So is it just like, is it a single swift blow?
Yeah.
Or is it like, yeah.
There's no time for anything else.
Yeah. The blades cross once, then you spin it around, you cut off this hand. The blade, like, clatters to the ground. And the desperate consequence is that this is a demon prince. You held some of its attention, and it has, in a sense, outwitted you, unless you resist it, right? So you drew it out to single combat. You had its entire focus on you for a moment, but what it did to the high mercenaries has not been undone.
Yeah.
And so they fucking wipe the floor with your cohort, and they all die.
oh damn.
Like, it happens just as quickly, right? It's like there is this clash unfolding around you. You have this swift duel, you cut off the hand, and then you look around and you see your people just being effortlessly destroyed. But you have beaten the law in single combat, which has ramifications.
Yeah. Now, of course, I want to look after my people. Yeah, you know, I'm going to resist in the sense that I can't resist them being gunned down in the sense that actually they're fine all along. What I want to do is it's fast, right? This person got possessed. They flew at me. I cut off the hand, and now the gunfire between these like superpowered mooks, who are now like the finest army, superhumanly imaginable. They're shooting my much larger group down, right? I'm going to join the fray. I'm going to throw myself in there with them. I'm going to take bullets. I'm going to cut them down as I go, and there's going to be some survivors.
Okay, absolutely. So how we will frame this is pick one of the cohorts, I think, because you're fighting with both. So let's make this clean and pick one of them that takes the brunt of the damage. Is it the Badmaishes or is it your sword school that is like at the front line?
I'll still choose one of these, but I'll also remind you that Jasper's gang is here and Omen's gang are here as well. Yeah, so I think they're also taking the hits.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. I'm just like narratively here. Do we want to focus on the Badmaishes or on the sword school? Before I detail what happens as you resist.
I think there's an inherent tragedy in the Badmaishes dying.
Yeah.
Oh well, not all dying. I guess I'm still protecting them. Right.
Yeah, you are. So make your resistance roll. We will take some stress, and but this is what's happening. You're protecting the Badmaishes, who probably are the ones who need defending the most.
Yeah. So does this count as supernatural harm in the sense that these are supernaturally powered soldiers?
Yes, I suppose so. Let's be generous with it.
Okay.
Like they are. So
yeah, I think that makes sense. Because if it was just them and my gang, they'd be the ones getting wiped out easily.
Yep.
Okay. It's a 6.
Nice.
So, I'm marking the Badmaishes as impaired. They have taken a level 2 harm. You have protected them. And I say that Zoot Suit Mohitul dies, and you say someone else who dies.
It's It's a Night Terror. Ripon the Ripper's less competent shadow.
Yeah. So, yeah, your people fight valiantly, but you simply can't kill them all. So Night Terror is shot and falls, and I think Zoot Suit Mohitul, we see this like blood stain across his nice Zoot Suit as his throat is cut open, and he falls backwards. It's very quick.
All the while the hyena is laughing.
Yeah. And to this scene of carnage, I will stay with Bidruhi for a moment. The sword is still on the ground. So like as you are fighting, as this chaos is unfolding, as your people are battling on both sides, as you see 2 of your friends fall, the sword just lies there. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, clearly Kuset has not been banished because these guys are still supercharged. So Kuset, insofar as one can defeat the Demon Prince of Justice and so on, he's still in this room. Well, of course, he's all in all of Duasha, what I'm talking about. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is where's Jackal and where's Omid?
I think Omid is, as always, fighting carefully and pragmatically. So Omid is at the back, having taken cover behind a corpse. I think that's in character for him.
Yeah.
And I think Jackal.
He found the biggest person who's dead.
Yeah. And is just shooting from behind that person. And I think Jackal is probably. I think it makes sense that she's among one of the last people to get inside the banks. I think she's storming through the doors at this moment. Let's remember this has all happened very quickly. So
yeah. With her gun out, right?
Yeah.
And Kuset is still somewhere in this room. Yeah. Remember how I resisted earlier? That I did resist earlier, not how because I didn't say how I resisted. I think Pedro is going to close his eyes, right? And I don't know what kind of action this is, but this is what he's going to do. This is, I think, what I would like to have happen. You can tell me how it works, or if it works at all. He's going to close his eyes, and he's going to develop the thought that was brewing in his head in the conversation that he had with the sage, which is that was, even though it manifested itself in its perfect in his perfect conception of what justice would look like, that was not justice. That was Kuset, the high-handed judge.
Yeah.
And thus, justice did not manifest in that room. Justice was not there. But there is a conception of justice. And this conception of justice would embrace Kethrys, would protect its people.
Okay.
The Prince An Khatam is not the concept of justice, but he is the concept of endings. He is the concept of Kethrys as a people. I'm going to manifest the influence of Prince Khatam in the room to aid us.
Okay, very good.
Should definitely assist with this.
Yes.
It sounds like an Attune. It sounds like
desperate Attune. Can I attune to my name?
Group action Attune?
Yeah. Yes, you can attune to your name.
Yes.
Yes, it can be a group action if Sri wants part of it, because why not? You can just keep hanging out in the rafters and just invoking names. That does seem like you.
I mean, it's what the body wants to do, and the body really doesn't want to go down there where the steam is.
I love how Sri has just turned into a ceiling gremlin. That's just attuning.
Bitten by a radioactive spider.
Yes.
Yeah, there is something that I want to do, but I think it's also important that the prince literally do this. It helps the people who need help. Like, that's the point, right? So
okay,
yeah, fulfilling function, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We have met the concept of justice, and it did not represent us. Thus, we have no one to appeal to except our own god.
Yes.
Correct. Will you lead?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. I have 3 dice in Attune.
I have
I'm
1.
wondering.
Okay.
I'm wondering whether another die it is useful. I'm gonna take 2 stress. I'm gonna push myself for a die.
Okay. I'm going to push myself for a die with 1 stress because I can do that.
Nice.
And Sri, I will give you a very specific devil's bargain because we are nearing the end of the campaign, so I think it is fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Which is this: you are invoking the Prince of Endings. This is actually a devil's bargain for both of you, now that I think about it. But I guess Sri will get the die if both of you consent to it. Which is, you are an incarnation of the deity meant to see this through.
Yes.
My devil's bargain for you is simply transferring the weight and the gravity of this symbolic divine blessing to Bidruhi, which will, mean you no longer have a body at the end of this, because you will be a blessing hovering over Bidruhi instead. Like, that is what you will conceptually be.
I'm not gonna take it, but the reason I'm not gonna take it is that the body is very clear that it is not to be abandoned.
Good. Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting angle to go
100%. Yeah, like, I think in this moment I realized I could do this. Right? And then I choose not to.
Good.
But I also choose not to because my ending is destined by a different hand. Because the axe is still down there on the ground.
Yes. True.
So
good.
Yeah, so I'll push myself instead.
May I give myself a devil's bargain instead of pushing?
What is that?
So I can be possessed by the Prince of
Endings, yes?
By the Prince of Endings, yes.
That is correct.
Yes. Can I be possessed by the concept of Bidruhi?
Yes. You can absolutely be possessed by a different name.
Which is not me.
Possessed by myself, which is not myself. Yes. Bidruhi is finally learning from Saida. Yes.
Yes. Good. Yeah, absolutely. I will allow this.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Cool. Let's go.
What? Is this Desperate Standard? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I think it is Desperate Standard.
Yeah.
It's a 5.
And your goal here is
1, a 2, and also a 1.
Okay. Fantastic. Bidruhi, you take a stress. And to be clear here, right, you're not destroying the Demon Prince of Justice here, but you are asserting dominance over it and driving it back. Yeah.
I am manifesting my god in this moment, which is the only thing that can save us, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think what happens is that you get possessed by Bidruhi. The spirit of the Prince of Endings comes over the battle, and just as abruptly as it started, the battle ends, because that's what happens. And I don't think it ends in all the Hive members dying. I think it just ends in that, like how battles do, right? It just happens very suddenly. Like, some people are cut down, some people surrender, some people run away. But just as suddenly as it started, the fighting's just over. And when you look down on the floor, the sword is broken in half.
Muy bien.
Give me the bad news.
Yeah, there are bad news. This much is true.
You're also broken in half.
What is the interesting way to go here, actually? Like, I don't feel like a brewing with destiny really fits. I think I will go with a very straightforward, like, spanner in the works instead. I don't think this is necessarily destined. Maybe this is a bit too obvious, but I also think it has a poetic quality to it. You are possessed by the Prince of Endings, and just by chance, you're just hit by a stray bullet and take a level 3 harm.
Great.
Yeah.
And I will not protect you from this. And that's not just because I have no strength to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to resist that. I can always expend my special armor to resist the consequence of looking foolish or failing to impress.
Yeah. Fair.
So I think what's going to happen is that a bullet is going to fly towards me, and I'm going to deflect that with my buckler.
Okay.
Without looking at it.
Cool. All right. You have expended your special armor, so I feel like it's still reasonable that there's some consequence for this.
Yeah.
And bucklers are not really meant to take bullets, so I think this happens, but also the handle of your buckler snaps from just the sheer force of this. You are possessed by a god, so you do something pretty much impossible and parry a bullet, but there's enough force in this from both sides that the buckler breaks. Is it fair?
Yes.
Good.
I'm going to erase it.
Yep. Cool. Is this a good moment to take a brief break?
Yes.
This is a good moment to take a brief break.
I think so. And then we can return to Mushfik, and Sri and Kethrys can also get to maybe finally come down from the ceiling. And then we'll see what's happened with the traumatized out Clem after that. But let's take a 5-minute break.
Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Zoheb, Psalmistry, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha.